One event that's coming up in a couple of days in the UK is Bonfire Night / Guy Fawkes Night. And you don't really hear many YouTubers talk about it. Obviously not going to hear Americans talk about it, but even a lot of British YouTubers I follow don't seem to mention it, so I thought it'd be a good excuse to a video about the 5th of November and what we do to celebrate it in the UK. And there's for some reason in the UK you think, oh, we have all these draconian laws about with guns and anything like slightly dangerous, but for some reason at the tail end of October, start of November, we're allowed to have high-powered gunpowder fuel fireworks. They're really dangerous and loads of people get injured. And speaking of which, you think a family member, or especially like your mum or dad, would be really responsible with fireworks, but my dad was the complete reverse of that. And now nobody in my family got injured is like an absolute minor miracle. Some events that spring to mind was once we had a Catherine wheel. My dad hammered it to the shed, and it was a proper old school shed that had been built out of old random bits of wood, and it wouldn't work, so he went over to it and started tapping it to make it spin round. One of the last firework events we had at the house where I grew up, we had a rocket, and my dad went over to it, lit it. It didn't light, it didn't get set off straight away. So I went over to it, leaned over to it, and it went off. And you exaggerate things in your mind, but it literally felt like it was an inch away from just hitting him in the face. It just like sailed straight over his head. It was crazy. And I remember once me, mum and my sister were in the kitchen. This was when I was like a really little kid, about like 11 or something like that. And my dad had built a huge bonfire in the back garden, but he built it so close to the kitchen, it actually made the kitchen window crack. And my dad had a bad habit of like throwing petrol onto like the fire to make it go bigger. That's probably what made the kitchen window crack. But along those lines, like when I was saying about the last event we had at the house where I grew up, my dad put oil onto the fire to make the flames more intense. I walked through this oil like a moron, and in not long just had a brand new carpet, and I traipsed, is that a word? It is now, all this oil through the living room, and it was like, it's folklore now, it's like when Wreck-It Dave strikes again, ruined a brand new carpet after it'd been there like 24 hours. And I don't know if I've ever said this before, but one thing that always springs to mind about things that happened in memories past is the day Thursday. I remember my sister coming up, she used to come up from the factory down the road on a Thursday, and this one particular Thursday was Bonfire Night. And I said to my sister, oh, can we go down the paper shop and get a box of fireworks? So we went down the paper shop to get a little tiny box of fireworks. I remember him lighting them in the back garden. There wasn't no incidents that time, I don't think. I remember about that paper shop as well. It's where I first saw John Carpenter's The Thing on VHS. Oh, one incident that does spring to mind is I was using a sparkler in the back garden, and this really just, basically I'm surprised I haven't still got the scar imprinted into me literally, was it went out, I put the sparkler on the floor, and I like to think I was about 6 or 7 when this happened. I was probably about 14, but I thought, oh, that sparkler will be okay for pick up now, and I picked it up and it really burnt my hand, and I don't know if it completely fried my brain, but I've got this dead bizarre memory after. Every time I think about this happening, I remember watching an episode of Happy Days. So I'm the only person who gets like weird Nam flashbacks watching Happy Days. But I can also remember just eating my tea. But the only ingredient that I remember it being was mushy peas. So I don't know what happened there. I don't know if I had the world's most boring meal, or I just left with mushy peas, and that's all I can think about. Oh, and as well, if I wanted to say 2 memories that perfectly sum up my childhood, this is like, I think about this all the time, but there used to be a potato place in the shopping mall just down the road, and any time they would give you the little packet of butter that you would put on the potato for flavour it. I always used to think about, my cousin used to live across the road, and she was named Tracy, and I remember going across there because they had a bonfire, and they had like baked potatoes. And they gave me a baked potato with these little packets of butter, and I thought it was like the poshest thing I'd ever seen. I was like, oh my god, I felt like a celebrity. And speaking of which, that house later on was featured, what was the name of the show? It was like a house restoration show. I'm sure they did up that house, unless I've just completely imagined it. But the thing about the normal butter was completely true. I thought that was the poshest thing ever. And this completely personifies the area I grew up in. It was literally like, you couldn't describe it in a better way. But my cousin Tracy, and she had another cousin as well, can't remember her name, I'll have to ask me sister Susan for my other cousin's name. But Tracy used to live across the road, and she had this bonfire, like I say. And on the field across the way, they had a bonfire as well. And in this like caveman contest we had then, everybody was trying to make their bonfire bigger. So people were bringing out like beds and settees and pieces of wood. And I just remember it being amazing at the time. It was like living in like Mad Max times or something. It's incredible. And there was a pub just around the corner called the Forge Inn. And every year they would have like a huge big bonfire. And I always remember thinking, oh, hope hedgehogs don't get trapped under there, because that was always the big thing. And as well, people would do this thing where they built a guy, like it was basically just a balloon for a head and like an old jumper or something. And occasionally though, you would see one, it was like Jim Henson or Rick Baker had made it or something. It was like incredible. But to bring it at least a little bit into what we normally talk about on this channel is movies. But I think, as far as I know, there was no Children's Film Foundation film about this, or, you know, like some weird rank organisation film. But I think, and again, I've been known to be proved wrong from time to time, but I think the only film there is about Bonfire Night, or set on Bonfire Night I should say, is Attack the Block. But so here's a question for you. Is that the only film about Bonfire Night? And I don't know if I've missed any more memories there about Bonfire Night, but if there is, I'll leave them in the comments below. And thanks for watching. Post your memories about Bonfire Night, and as always, keep it locked.
Thanks for watching The Legends of Cherry Hill. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing.